All right, read through this tweet. Todoist has made more than $100 million in total revenue in the last few years. A simple to-do application, something you might have been building for a long time, can actually scale to a lot of revenue if built right. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 such product ideas. These are good things to put on resume. These are good things to generally build as businesses, only if they're built with a lot of polish. The problem with building your own project is, since it does not reach a lot of users, you don't get user feedback, you never iterate. And hence, I would urge, if you're thinking of building one of these, then please make it incredibly polished. Half of the battle is making the product usable than, just building it out and putting it out there. Without any further ado, let's get into the first project idea. All right, project number 1 is a testimonial creation and embeds website. A good example of this is testimonials.to. If you go to this website, it says, get testimonials from your customers with ease. It basically gives you a widget like this that you can embed on your website. It also does the hard work of gathering all of this feedback from your users. So the UX looks as follows. You sign up on the website. You reach a dashboard like this, and you can create a new space. Every landing page, every website that you have can be a fresh space. Let me create one for, let's say, one of my websites. All right, I've created a new space for one landing page of mine. And now I get this link that I can send to my customers to gather their feedback. If you go to this testimonials.to/100xDevs landing page, you will see something like this. It asks you to review the course or whatever you're selling. You can either record a video or write a textual feedback. Let me quickly write some simple feedback for this website. All right, this is how my end customers would review the product that I'm selling. And now I can track all of my reviews on my testimonials.to dashboard. If I go here and look at this space that I had created, when I open this page, I can see all the reviews that have been made and the ones that I really like, the ones that I want to showcase on my end website. I can just like them or, add them to my wall of fame. And then I can embed this wall of fame on my website. I can pretty much choose the best ones that I find and then create a wall of fame, choose the layout of how I want it to look like. Let's say, something pretty standard. And then, it gives me some JavaScript code that I can add to my website, and that will embed that specific testimonial or bunch of testimonials to my website. Let me quickly show this in action. If I go to Replit, create a fresh HTML, CSS, and JavaScript REPL, paste the code over here and run it again. You will see the review comes here on my end website. Now this website could be anything. It could be my main website, my product website, whatever. All I had to do was add 3 lines of code, and all the reviews that my students/users have sent can appear on this website. Now you might ask, Harkirat, who's even paying for this? This is such a simple product. But in the end, the simplicity doesn't matter. It's about how much value does it provide to the end user, which a product like this provides a lot of value. Feedbacks have generally been seen to increase conversion rates by a lot, which is why people don't mind paying $50 per month for something like this. The founder of this company actually built the product in public, which means they were initially sharing their revenues, and they had like a decent user base paying for this product purely because it's a very nice pull for any marketeer who's selling a digital product. That's the first product. If you look at the tech stack, it's not too hard to build. You probably need a simple website, which can be a Next.js website, so that it has both front end and back end. You need another, review gathering website, which can also be Next.js. The only big thing over here is, whenever a user comes and provides a review, it needs to go into some video pipeline because the user is expected to record a video over here sometimes before submitting it. So you need some sort of a video processing pipeline. You can also outsource this to someone like, there are a bunch of companies that do this. For example, Mux would let you, record a video, or let your end users record a video and let you store them in your own object stores, or store it on Mux object stores. Just give you a link that you can eventually use. Other than that, there is nothing too hard to build here. Polishes do matter. Of course, your final, review board that you're letting users embed on their website needs to be extremely pretty, and you need to give the users a bunch of layouts that they can choose from. Other than that, fairly simple product. The more polished you build it, the more integrations you add over here, the more places you let the user embed websites, create React components, Next components, Svelte components, make it as easy as possible for a user to embed this is, what differentiates this product from any competitor, but a very small niche product to build. With that, let's move to the second one. All right, the next product is called useproof.com. It's a YC backed company that gives you social proof for your digital products. It's again a sales and marketing sort of a product. It's a Saas which lets you show notifications like these. For example, 13 people started a free trial in the last 24 hours, verified by proof, or 79 people are currently viewing this website, verified by proof. Proof becomes the central authority for actually verifying how many people are currently on this website or how many people have recently signed up on this website. So that whenever you're selling something, for example, there's someone who's selling a crypto cheat sheet like this, and whenever their user comes on their final cart product or cart page by page is when you create some sort of a FOMO by showing them XYZ people are currently trying to buy this. You might have seen this fairly often on course selling websites or even any digital product selling website. It leads to higher conversions, which is why marketeers love to integrate these in the website. It's again a one line integration, and all you have to do as the developer is number one, build a website very similar to this useproof.com, where a user can come and give their website's URL. For example, let's say our website is cryptosheets.com. And the website gives you back again a pixel code. A pixel code is basically a script that you can add to your front end page. So what you have to do is take this pixel and integrate it in your own code base in the cryptosheets.com code base. Just bring the pixel and put it over here. Now, anytime a user signs up, anytime there's a form that looks like a sign up form and someone clicks on a submit button, the use proof system understands that someone has recently signed up. And let's say if 30 such events happen, then everyone who's on the cart page will get a notification that says 30 people signed up in the last, let's say 30 minutes. The reason this is good is because as long as everyone understands how proof works under the hood and proof is not doing anything shady, whenever you're seeing the verified by proof tag, you can indeed be sure that there are 79 people who have recently signed up, because proof does not let the developers of the company, inject events and, tell 79 people are currently active on the website. It actually has a script running on your final website, and that's how it figures out how many people are currently live. Same should be true for if you're selling something. If you want to show a notification that says, XYZ has bought the course from Gujarat, you might have seen these notifications as well. Amir from Gujarat just bought this course for $30. These are also FOMO generating notifications, and these should be spit out from a Stripe dashboard. You should indeed verify that a payment has happened and not trust the developer of that specific product. And only then should you say verified by proof. The whole point of this is this is real social proof that this event has indeed happened. So the only thing you have to keep in mind is you're not letting developers inject events or live counts over here. Currently there are 30 people live on my website. It should be all pulled from the website, and proof servers should be able to figure out currently there are 10 people or 20 people active on the website. Tech stack should be straightforward. You need two things. Number one, you need this dashboard that you can write in maybe Next.js, whatever front end, back end technology you're comfortable with. And secondly, you need some sort of a backend server, most probably a real-time backend server, where anytime, if this is your end user's website, this is cryptosheets.com, anytime a user comes here, they create a WebSocket connection to your backend server, and that is how you know how many people are currently active on the website. So you need this extra backend service, which is from time to time pushing things to most probably a database, and you pull out notifications from this database to again show on this website 30 people are currently active on the website. Not too difficult to build again. Polish is what matters, and transparency is what matters. So if you can somehow bring more and more transparency, if the website does say verified by your website or verified by proof, then indeed you can be sure this specific metric is indeed correct. That's website number 2. Let's move on to website number 3, the website that has made $100 million in its lifetime. All right, the next one is a to-do application, but slightly nuanced. Not a very simple to-do application, but nothing too hard either. It needs to support 5 features. Feature number 1, it lets users create to-dos. That's the fairly simple thing any to-do application should let you do. Add members to your organization and assign them tasks. A lot of times these to-dos might not be assigned to you. It might be assigned to someone else in the team. See a calendar view of all of your tasks, all of your team tasks. Individually, people can see their own set of tasks they need to do and by when do they need to do these tasks. Reminders at the end of the day for all pending tasks. In case I had 10 things to do today and I've been able to check off 5, I should get some sort of an email, WhatsApp notification, phone call, SMS that I still have 5 pending tasks for the day. And lastly, allow you to create organizations. I can create multiple organizations, add different members to different organizations, have tasks for each organization be separate. Todoist lets you do a lot of these things. This is what their very basic dashboard looks like. You can come here and the first thing you can do, for example, is create a task. Let's say the task is eat food at 2. It's like a very weird task, but let's say eat food tomorrow at 2 p.m. And as you can see, it makes your life as easy as possible. All I had to do was write at 2 and it automatically parsed that this probably means 2 p.m. If I write 2 p.m. here, it automatically understood this means 2 p.m. If I remove p.m., it feels like this thing is due at 2 a.m. tomorrow. All right. Basic parsing that, just makes the life of the person who's creating the to-do very easy. The whole point of this is to, make the lives of people who are extremely busy easier. And, these small polishes matter a lot there. It lets you assign it to someone else or yourself, priority P1, P2, P3. And, by when is this thing due? If I click on add task, it becomes one of many tasks I have pending today. I have to eat food, go to the gym, finish video for recording, the one that I'm currently recording, finish code 3 syllabus, hash the syllabus, things like these. These are all the tasks that I have for today. As I keep on doing them, I can check them off. It also shows me a calendar view, which is pretty cool. Okay, this is everything I have pending for today. Let's say I don't have anything tomorrow. This is what I have planned for Saturday, so on and so forth. So taking all of your tasks and, showing such a view that you can, it's just easier and, more organized to look at. It also lets you create organizations. For example, there is a 100x devs organization here and you can create multiple projects inside it. For example, cohort 3.0 is one project. Meetup is another project. These are the tasks that we have to do during, let's say, a meetup that is happening. So a very basic to-do application. As you can see, there's nothing, too out of the ordinary here. Very basic UI elements and, drags and drops, which are not too difficult to add today. The only thing is, have you covered all the bugs? Have you supported all the features that these guys currently support? The only difficult thing that I can think of might be, adding members, removing members, and, letting the users create organizations, which also, if I'm being honest, is a fairly simple full stack task. Nothing too out of the ordinary here if you're trying to build it. If you are thinking of building it, I would first build the front end of it. There's like mildly complex things to do. If you want to build the front end, for example, drags and drops, and then I would just move out to the back end, which, if I'm being honest, should be fairly straightforward. The other thing that might be good to add here is, a mobile application, because you need notifications to pop up. You probably need a mobile app for that also. Mostly busy people, are on their phones. So, they can create a task directly on their phone. That's all I have for this one. Let's move to project number 4. All right. Product number 4 is called Detoxify. It's an original, which means I don't think this already exists. This is just an idea that came to me a while back. The problem statement looks like this. Whenever you open your YouTube feed, it's mostly customized based on history, what YouTube thinks you're interested in. For example, in my case, I see a bunch of real estate. I see some more, too much real estate, and then, some of my own videos, so on and so forth. But, this feed can get very toxic very quickly. You might open one, back cracking video, and then you're just seeing a bunch of, back cracking videos for a long time. So what if you could create a website where users can come and select one of many things they're interested in? For example, Devops, or, maybe Rust, or Golang, so on and so forth. One of these technologies that they want to learn. And once they select this technology, we surf their YouTube. I repeat, we surf their YouTube with a bunch of popular, well-written, made Golang videos for a really long time. And their final feed eventually becomes, a bunch of those creators that are currently active / have the best Golang videos. It lets you detoxify your feed and, makes it so that if you want to learn something, your consciously triggered to learn that thing because your feed is filled with those things. Now, I don't know if this is possible to do. I don't know if you can get access to someone's YouTube such that you can surf on their behalf, and the access is limited to just that, versus you getting complete access to their YouTube. So the thing to figure out here is this even feasible of a product to build? Can you get some sort of permissions on a user's account so that you can start to surf their YouTube and spend maybe 20 minutes on a specific video, and overall spend around 30 hours on a bunch of Golang content, so that by the end of it, their feed looks something like this. If this is possible to do, I would assume people would pay a lot of money for this. I, for example, would pay, a decent chunk of money, maybe whatever, $10 a month. So that if I want to learn something, I am forced to do it subconsciously because my feed is filled with all of this content. This can then be extrapolated to Instagram and other platforms. A lot of times Instagram feeds are also, fairly polluted. So if you want to, get away from them, you can either select not interested a bunch of times yourself, or you can have a bot, surf on your behalf, and by the end of it, filter out good and bad feed so that your final feed becomes detoxified. Let me know if this is possible in the comments. And if you've figured out the right set of APIs that these websites do provide you. If they don't provide you any APIs, the worst case is you take the user's credentials. I don't know if people are super comfortable sharing their credentials, but I would totally create a fresh dummy account where I would give my credentials to a company like this. And if they surf on my behalf, great, I can eventually open that specific account and surf using that specific account. My primary account credentials, I don't have to share. That's idea number 4. Let's move on to idea number 5, which is slightly DevOps heavy. All right, next up, we have a website similar to Better Uptime. Well, it used to be called Better Uptime. Now they do a bunch of things, but Better Stack, or more specifically, their uptime offering lets you track your website's uptime, which basically means if ever your website is down, they will send you an email. If you don't pick up your email, they'll send your manager an email, so on and so forth. Fairly technically challenging problem to build, especially when it comes to, being very active in tracking these URLs and then, mailing and calling the right people at the right time. Let's look at their UX really quickly. After you sign up, you see a dashboard where you can add a bunch of monitors. A monitor basically means what URL you're tracking. If ever projects.100xdevs.com is down, this becomes red. If ever app.100xdevs.com is down, this becomes red. Let me create a fresh monitor here. You can decide when the alert should trigger, if it is when the URL becomes unavailable, or if it returns, let's say, some status code other than 200. In this case, you should trigger the error. Let's just revert to the original. What is the URL that we're tracking? Let's say we're tracking 100xdevs.com. And on-call escalations. What all do you need to happen in case this specific website is down? Send an email, send an SMS, so on and so forth. You probably have to upgrade your plan if you want, a call or an SMS. Let's just stick to emails for now. If the on-call person doesn't acknowledge the incident, then, you should alert all the other team members. Just select whatever you want over here. In fact, you can actually create fairly complex teams over here, multiple teams, each team having a manager, managers having a manager on top, that guy having a CTO, so on and so forth. So the escalation happens in a certain, standard fashion. And then you can just create a monitor. Now, if 100xdevs.com is ever down, then, this specific monitor would go down. I would receive an email. Let's try that out really quickly. I have deleted all the pods for this specific website, which basically means the website should be down now. If I go to 100xdevs.com, you will see it says 503 service temporarily unavailable. Let's wait for a few more seconds. As you can see, it checks every 3 minutes. I'll see you back in like 3 minutes or so. And as you can see now, the website is indeed down. It's been down for 1 minute, 36 seconds. Time for me to bring this back up. I don't think this is good for me to, production to be down. Let's quickly revert that. And now if I go here, the website is back up. And in a few seconds, you'll see, the monitor is up as well. Since this has been down, I should have received an email. Let's see if I have received something. And indeed, if you guys can see this, it says Better Stack update. The specific website is down. This is how, a website like this runs. Now, this is a very small use case for monitoring. There are a lot of things to monitor a website. Monitor is, a very basic thing to add. And hence, if you're building a product like this, you have to build logging and, dashboards, charts, alerts based on some custom metrics, things like these. Just tracking a website isn't enough, which is why now I think better uptime has expanded to just better stack, which means, they will monitor everything for you, not just an HTTP URL. A basic version of this is just this, letting people track a website. I don't think this will scale very well. This is good for like a $5 a month sort of a thing. But eventually when a company becomes really big, they need either in-house monitoring or, a lot of things to monitor, not just a URL, but a great project to try out in general. What would the stack look like? You would have a Next.js application where users would come, or whatever, React application, users would come, set up their monitors. You would store them, let's say, in a database, and then you need some sort of a service specifically, probably in various regions, because whenever you use better uptime, it tracks you from 3 regions, and only if you're down in, let's say, 2 of the regions, does it monitor an alert or like throw out an alert. You might be blocked in a certain region, whatever, and hence you should make sure you're visiting the user's URL from various regions. So let's say there's one server of yours that's in US, one that's in EU, one that's in Australia, and from all 3 of these, you need to keep hitting a specific URL that you'll fetch from this specific database every 3 minutes. If ever something is down, you need to let the database know, change the status in the database. Also need to, throw this in on some sort of a queue, which will eventually be processed by, an email sender or a caller that will, actually call the user, so on and so forth. So there are a lot of asynchronous systems to build here. If the system ever comes back up, then, you need to cancel a bunch of these, calling a few people. So there are a lot of things to build even in a simple V1, but eventually, you should do what they're doing here now, which, they've slowly added, logging over here, where you can add various type of sources, for example, your Kubernetes cluster or a VM. And based on those logs, you can add a bunch of monitors, basically things that a company like Datadog or New Relic lets you do. I think that's the end outcome of any product like this. But to kick things off, starting off with what better uptime did is also, a great start for a small company or business for like $5 a month. With that, we'll move to the next one. All right, next up, we have YouTube Downloader. The reason I put this here is because it makes or can make a lot of money via ads. If you look at the most visited websites in India, don't look at it, but if you do, you'll find this in the top 10. This is one of the most heavily used apps, at least in India. And here, all you have to do is come, paste a URL, click on download. It'll download the MP4 for you. Sounds like a simple product. It's actually not too difficult to build if you use a bunch of external libraries. If you start to figure things out yourself, then it might be, a little bit of a headache. But I don't know how many of you have used YouTube-DL, which I think is a Python library. I don't know, but a simple CLI that lets you given a URL that looks like this, downloads the MP4 onto, let's say, a server of yours, and then you can, just let the end user know, okay, this is your MP4 URL. It's basically very simple to do, right? You just create a simple HTTP server where whenever a user puts in a URL, send a request to the server, use a CLI that lets you download that specific file, and then take that file and give it to the end user. Just give them a URL or, store it here for, let's say, 10 minutes. And just hope that the user downloads in the next 10 minutes and then purge it from the server. So fairly simple thing to build. The only difficult thing here is expenses. If there are a lot of people using your server or using your service, this will get very expensive because you need a lot of storage to begin with. A lot of people are hitting your server and downloading massive files. So you need to make sure the unit economics works out, and you're able to make enough money via ads, which I think they do. Because if you are the most visited website in India, then you're probably getting, 10,000 to 100,000 visits probably every second. Maybe not, maybe that's a little too much, but you get the idea. If you have to keep 100,000 videos alive on your server, this will get very expensive in terms of storage. So how do you cache videos? Where do you cache videos? If there are popular videos that everyone's downloading, how can you, avoid re-downloading them again and again? Are small challenges to figure out here to make sure that the unit economics works out in the end. You can also add some basic front-end features on top, letting the user crop videos from time to time, download a certain segment. All you have to do in that case is, after YouTube-DL, run an ffmpeg command that crops the video out, and then the cropped video is what you need to serve to the end user. So adding these features isn't too difficult to build. Another website that I've seen in the past is one that lets you run YouTube on loop on a certain segment. So that might be another thing to build. All of these will run via ads. You probably have to promote them a lot for them to be able to compete with the alternates that already exist. With that, we'll move to the next one. Right. Next up, we have a fast feed for crypto prices. If there is a captcha on a website, you know it's being used very heavily. Dex Screener is one of such websites that's currently being very actively botted / used on the Solana blockchain. Why? Because it tracks the current price of a bunch of meme coins. A lot of times these meme coins have, 10x, 100x potential. I don't know if you guys know, Andrew Tate launched his coin. Weird things happened over there. Let me see. Yeah, it's called Daddy Tate. And even during that time, a website like this, especially, if you're able to catch it here right before the launch or, right at the launch, can, lead to 100x outcomes. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do. You shouldn't follow these trades, but a lot of people do. Since a lot of traders and people are, following these meme coins, maybe this is not the right one actually, but either way, since a lot of traders are following these meme coins, a lot of times they require either websites that can track the current price of a meme coin. This is hard to do because these meme coins aren't listed on centralized exchanges yet. They come up on some random dexes. So you have to make sure you're actively tracking all the decentralized exchanges that exist. Every new token that is being created, wherever there's a market being created for it, you should start to pull it and, show it on your website. If there is a lot of activity happening on someone, if there's one that's, increasing a lot in price over the last, 24 hours or 5 minutes, then, you should show them here. Of course, a lot of these are just scams and, people pumping their own coins. So be very careful and, always look at liquidity before you're buying or selling in any one of these. But yeah, a lot of companies sort of make a lot of money in transaction fees. If you're able to build a place where people want to track meme coins, a lot of times that is Telegram groups as well, which means creating a bot on a Telegram group where people can come check the current prices of meme coins. And, if there's one spiking up very quickly, buy it in a single message, sell it in a single message. Bonk bot is one such very famous use case that made, I don't know how much they made. I think like half a billion dollars or 50 million, something in that range, in just transaction fees over a really long time, like a year or so, not even a really long time. So if you catch the right set of degens and give them good price discovery on meme coins and let them trade, you can take a small portion of the trade, which is sometimes like as high as 1%. So if you have a lot of volumes, you can make a lot of money. I would build this purely, preparing for whenever a meme cycle happens and, people want to quickly buy and sell. A lot of times these were being used by ETH people who want to quickly move over to Solana because they just felt like, okay, there's a lot of activity happening on Solana. They don't know how to buy Solana yet. So they would just create a wallet on some Telegram bot, move their ETH there, swap their ETH for their SOL, and then, use the SOL to buy a bunch of these meme coins. So I would build this if I had the time today. Technically, how do you build this? As I said, you need to make sure you're constantly tracking all market makers / liquidity pools that currently exist on chain. Most probably any coin that is here does not exist on a centralized exchange. So the price discovery is the thing that becomes, critical over here. How quickly can you find what trades are happening and what is the current price of any meme coin, store them or throw them in some sort of a database, do all sort of analytics on top of it to figure out, what's the current 5-minute increase, the 1 hour increase, the 1 day increase of each of these coins. And based on that, people see it either in a UI or people see it on some sort of a Telegram group. Even if you're building this UI, there's like a lot of things to learn. For example, charting. How do you chart candles like these? Swaps. How do you call the right set of APIs if you directly want the user to swap from here? Here, they just let you, trade on Radium, which I'm assuming is just an iframe. But if you're building a Telegram bot, then how do you create a wallet for a user and how do you swap on their behalf if they ever want to buy a meme coin? That's the idea. Build it. I built this for the Solana hackathon, a WhatsApp version of the bot. Like a lot to learn if you're building something like this. Moving on. Oh boy, before we move on, I found the page that shows how much they're making in fees. And Bonkmot has made $100,000 in the last 24 hours in fees. Till date, they've made $50 million. Solid business to build. If you've built the right distribution, it's a distribution first business. Tech doesn't give you too much edge here. The thing that gave them edge was, finding the right set of degenerate traders and, letting them trade on Telegram. On to the next one. Crypto payment gateway. I'm sure some of you have heard of companies like Stripe or Razorpay. If you've ever used them in the past, they basically give you APIs to talk to banks and accept payments from your end users. If you're creating any digital product, you will have to integrate with one of these two. They charge like 2% fees. So if if your end user is paying 100 rupees, you get 98 rupees, 2 rupees goes to either Razorpay or Stripe, whatever you're using. Crypto payment gateways are very similar. They let you accept payments from end users and let them pay via crypto. So you will get a very similar UI. Let's see if I can find that UI somewhere here. You basically get a UI that looks like this, where your end user can pay via crypto. That includes, BTC, ETH. And once they complete their payment, you can credit their account with whatever they were trying to sell, let's say a course or a digital product. The reason these are sort of important is because number one, it's very hard to do payments in crypto, like hard to track payments in crypto. And number two, it's very hard to keep track of how many blockchains are coming and where your end user might want to pay from. Number three, it's extremely hard for traditional businesses to off-ramp this money into bank accounts. This is where you can come as a centralized crypto exchange, let end users pay via crypto and give the business INR directly. So if let's say I have a business called mytshirt.com, I register with a crypto gateway like CoinGate, and they accept payment in crypto from my end user who wants to buy a t-shirt. Let's say, Harkirat. Harkirat pays CoinGate. CoinGate off-ramps the money to my bank account. Even if they don't off-ramp the money and, just send it at the end of the month to my crypto address, that's also good enough. But if you can figure out off-ramping, then, you can bring in a lot of traditional businesses in here. You can't do this in India. It's very hard to off-ramp crypto in India. But if you're building this for, a more crypto-friendly country, then I would build the off-ramping part as well. Even if you don't build that, just building a crypto gateway, which accepts crypto from various blockchains on various networks, supports a bunch of coins, swaps them to USDC almost immediately, is a great thing to build. In fact, the project that we'll be building next would also require something like CoinGate, a crypto payment gateway where you can accept payments from end users. What are the things that you need to know about if you want to build this technically? Number one, you need to understand how indexing happens in blockchains. Every blockchain that you'll be supporting, be it BTC, let's say Ethereum and Sol, you need to understand how can you index the blockchain and figure out the right set of transactions where you're asking your end users to pay. The other thing you need to figure out is real-time swapping, by which I mean, if your t-shirt is for $100, but your end user only has Ethereum, you need to figure out what is the right price of Ethereum you need to charge them. Let's say 0.01 ETH. And once you receive this ETH, you need to almost immediately convert it to USDC. If you wait for a little bit of time and the price of ETH drops by then you will only get back, let's say $98. So you'll have to take a hit of $2. Hence, whenever you're charging your end user, whenever they pay you, almost immediately convert their whatever crypto they've sent you over to USDC, because that is what you have to transfer to your end business or end client that, is using your payment gateway. With that, let's move on to the next one. All right. The last two projects are fairly correlated. You can create a separate opinions tracking website similar to Probo. If you've seen it, this is one that's been popping up in India, where you can invest in your point of view. Basically means you can invest based on events. Okay, I feel that Donald Trump will be president in 2024, 2025. And if you win, you make some money. If you lose, of course, you lose all of your money. These are opinions that you can trade on. Another example might be that the fourth over will be played by a specific bowler, or India will make more than 200 runs in the next T20, so on and so forth. So these are opinions that you can trade on. There are people on both the sides. Based on whichever party wins, you take all of the pool and distribute them amongst people. Some of the money you take in as trading fee. That's what opinion trading is. And Stake and a bunch of other gambling websites let you do opinion trading, but also let you trade on other games and assets. For example, if I open Stake over here, some of the popular games over here include things like Dice or Crash or Plinko. I don't know if you've tried any of these. Plinko, I have a detailed video on how do you build a game like this. This game basically lets you bet a certain amount, for example, $1. And based on where this ball lands, your $1 might increase or decrease. For example, this $1 landed in the 1.2 circle, which basically means my 1 rupee became 1.2 rupees or $1 became $1.2. I can keep betting a bunch of balls and of course, you will lose in the long run, but as you can see over here, I've mostly made money in this specific cycle. How do you build something like this is something I've already posted on YouTube. You can go to that video. It's a detailed 2-hour video. This is probably the most difficult game to build here. Other games are fairly straightforward. For example, Dice basically means I want to, bet $1, and based on if 0.81 came, I will lose. But if anything above 0.5 comes, I will win. Again, 11.27 came, so I lost. 86.64 came, so I won. Anything between 0 and 50 comes, I lose. Anything between 50 and 100 comes, I win. Of course, there is something that's making the house win as well. Most probably, if exactly 50 comes, then I will lose, which is how the house wins. But in the end, the house will always win in the long run. If you keep betting again and again, in any one of these games, you will lose in the longer run. But if you feel lucky someday, just bet $100. So if you feel lucky, use them. Usually just build them. If you build a website like this, as long as you can get the right people. For example, right now 4,900 people are playing Plinko, 16,000 people are playing Mines, which is also a very addictive game where you can come and let's say bet $100 or whatever, and you can keep selecting a bunch of these boxes until you arrive at a mine. If you don't arrive at a mine, your total multiplier will keep on going up. For example, my multiplier right now is 1.37. If I select another one, this is also a mine. This went up to 1.46, so on and so forth. But if I hit a mine somewhere here, then my money goes down to 0. I've been able to reach 1.55. If I click on cash out, I will make $1.54, $1 that I bet and $0.54 that I made on top. But if I would have hit this specific mine, then I would have gone down to 0. This also, if you run the probability, you will lose in the longer run. You will never keep on making money if you keep playing this game again and again. This is the most popular one, as you can see, Mines. But these are all games that you can build. The easier thing is building these games. The most difficult game I've already built on YouTube. The harder thing is wallet balances and allowing users to on-ramp money, allowing users to take out the money, making sure this singular balance is what they can use across various games. This is the hard bit. Also, if you want to support real-time games, then it's a whole different category of gambling. You need to set up gambling studios where there are people who are real life casino players that are gambling and you're playing against them. That's a much harder problem to solve. Building a much simpler UI like this, allowing people to on-ramp and off-ramp money, very similar to what we discussed in the last slide, and then letting them play these games is a good business in the longer run. As long as you have enough eyeballs and enough people on your platform, you will make money in the long run. Cool. That's all the 10 ideas I had. Personally, amongst all of these, I am most excited about seeing the first one, Testimonials.2, because I know it's a good business, and it makes almost 400K in totality or a year. One of these, I think 400K or annual recurring revenue. Todo is it requires a lot of polish. So if you are thinking of building it, make sure you're ready for a long ride, because it will require a bunch of iterations and making sure you have all the right integrations. Probably will take you 6 months to a year to build this, similar to how they've built it. Detoxify, just to figure out, is this even possible? Because if it is, it's a new product, and you never know, a new product might catch fire very quickly. Fast price feed for crypto prices, building a website, building a Telegram bot, or even building an API that gives you extremely high frequency of current prices of various meme coins can be a big business. As you saw, BonkBot makes like $50 million or has made $50 million in less than a year. So, another thing I would build if I had the time. Crypto gateways will remain universal. So, it's a very long game to play. There will eventually be, a Stripe. Either Stripe will get into payment gateways or there will be a crypto Stripe. So being in that market is probably a good thing to build. Gambling websites are always great. Opinion trading is just legal in India for some reason. Since Probo's here, I'm assuming it's legal in India. So that's another reason why I feel, I would want to build something like this. Either one of these, gambling website or anything in that realm, is a good business because one, it's very addictive. Two, it's pseudo legal in India. I don't know the legalities, but if a company like Stake is working in India, it means it's pretty legal, right? And lastly, opinions trading, which again, the house wins very well. If you can get enough people to place bets, you'll make like a lot of money on every game. That's all I had for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.